it's Miss Lana Banana here. I'm so glad that you're joining us. We are once again talking about living the story. The Bible is a book that is filled with stories about God and how God relates to us and how God wants us to live. Who's ready to find out what our next word is on our map? On the count of 3, I want you to say, "Open up the book." Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll open up the book. There's no word in here. What? Oh, I just missed it. Our word for today is accommodation. That is a very large word that we don't often use. I wonder what it means. Hey, Coach Chris, what does accommodation mean?
Accommodation means fitting in to the wishes and needs of others.
Thanks, Coach Chris. That helped out a lot. We're going to learn today how the Israelites accommodated to their culture and how we sometimes do the same. Are you ready? Let's go.
Samuel was a judge over Israel. At this time, Israel had no king, but the leaders of Israel said, "We want a king like the nations around us." Samuel wasn't sure how to respond, so he prayed to God. God said, "Give them what they want, but warn them what it will be like to have an earthly king." A king could make their sons serve in the army. He could make their daughters work for him. Or he could take away their fields and servants. But the Israelites didn't care. "Give us a king," they said. God brought to Samuel a man named Saul. "You will be king," Samuel said. Saul was surprised. He was from the tribe of Benjamin, the smallest tribe in Israel. Samuel anointed Saul, and the Spirit of God was with Saul. When the time came for Samuel to introduce the Israelites to their new king, no one could find Saul. God said, "There he is, among the supplies."
Oh no!
The people ran to Saul. "Long live the king," they said. The Israelites thought Saul would be a good king, but Saul did not obey God. One day, Saul took an army to fight the Philistines, but the Philistines had more chariots, more horses, and more soldiers. Saul wanted to ask God for help. Maybe if he made an offering to God, they would win the battle. There was one problem. Only the priests, like Samuel, were allowed to give offerings to God. Saul waited, but Samuel did not come. Saul's soldiers started to leave, so Saul decided to make an offering to God himself. Then Samuel arrived. "You have disobeyed God," Samuel said. "You will not be king much longer. God is going to find someone obedient to be king." Sometime later, the Israelites won a battle against the Amalekites. God wanted Saul to destroy everything, but Saul only destroyed the things he didn't want. God told Samuel, "I regret that I made Saul king because he does not obey me." Samuel confronted Saul. "I did obey God," Saul argued. "I only saved the best animals to sacrifice to the Lord." Samuel asked, "Does God care more about obedience or sacrifices?" You rejected his instruction, so God has rejected you as king. Saul admitted his sin and asked for forgiveness. Samuel said, "God has taken away your kingship today, and he will make someone else king." God intended for a heavenly king to rule over Israel, but the Israelites did not trust God's plan and wanted a king like the nations around them. God gave them a king, but Saul did not obey God. God had a plan to send his son, Jesus. King Jesus trusted and obeyed God perfectly and died so sinners could be forgiven and accepted.
Why can't I have what they have? That's what the Israelites were asking. I bet you felt like that. I know I have. When I was a kid, I was really good at singing and dancing and art, and I was not so good at math and science and building Legos. And sometimes I would look over at the people who were really good at those things and go, why can't I be more like them? Why can't I have that? And I would get myself really sad about the fact that I wasn't more like them. And my mom reminded me that sometimes we can spend so much time thinking about what we don't have and what someone else has that we forget how God created us. You see, God created each of us with gifts and talents that are unique to us. And when we remember who we are as God's children, we can take those gifts and share God's love using those gifts. So as I got older, I was able to use my gift of singing or acting to share God's love with others. Maybe you're really good at building Legos and you want to build something that shares God's love in that way. Don't forget who you are and who God made you to be. Don't accommodate what others tell you you need to be like. Be yourself. Be who God made you to be. And be a witness of God's love to others. Our Bible verse for today comes from the book of Psalms, which is really right in the middle of the Bible in the Old Testament. Our Bible verse is Psalms 100, verse 3. And I'm going to teach you some sign language to go along with the verse. The verse says, "Know that the Lord is God. It is He who made us, and we are His." Here's the sign language. Know that He is God. It is He who made us, and we are His. Psalms 100, verse 3. Remember, we belong to God. It is He who made us, and it is He who gave us our gifts and talents to share with others. Don't get so busy looking at what other people have that you forget who you have been created to be. Let's celebrate who God has made us to be and how we belong to the family of God. Get ready to dance. I can't dance. Actually, I can't, but that was a really good example.
Come and see all the perfect colors that all blend together. Dance and sing, make your praises louder, put those hands together. Shout out, I belong to God. 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 You and me are His sons and daughters. We are His forever. Family, we are bound together by His love. Remember, shout out, we belong to God. 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 We will lift our hands, we will jump high to praise the one who gave us life. We will spin around and look for someone, give a high five and sing along. Shout out, we belong to God. Shout out, we belong to God. Shout out.
Takes. So
Okay. I gotta remember what. Accommodation means fitting into the wishes and needs of others. Right?
That's what we hear. You gotta get set. Right? That's what it is. Dad?
Accommodation.
Bueno, that was a good take.
Accommodation means fitting into the wishes and needs of others. That. I feel like. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Accommodation means fitting into the wishes and needs of others.